Are you feeling a persistent unease, a gnawing doubt that something isn't quite right, even as you strive to walk a spiritual path? Do you find yourself questioning choices, relationships, or even your deepest beliefs, and wonder if the very journey you're on is leading you further away from your true self, your true calling? Perhaps there's a hollowness, a silence where joy once resided, or a growing sense of fatigue. Despite your best efforts to connect with the divine, you might be experiencing financial setbacks, relational strife, or a pervasive sense of emptiness that no amount of prayer or spiritual practice seems to fill. It's a heavy burden, isn't it? This feeling of being spiritually adrift, like a ship without a compass in a vast, uncertain ocean. This confusion, this pain, this emotional turmoil can cloud your mental clarity and steal your inner peace, leaving you feeling isolated and misunderstood. Before we dive into the heart of this message, into the profound truths that can guide you back to clarity, healing, and spiritual awakening, I ask 3 simple things of you. First, take a deep, cleansing breath. Let go of the anxieties, the distractions, and the noise of the world, if only for these moments. Second, open your heart. Allow the words to resonate not just in your mind, but in the deepest chambers of your soul. And third, be present. This message is for you in this very moment, a divine invitation to introspection and transformation. Many of us embark on a spiritual journey with fervent hope and an open heart, believing we are on the path divinely ordained. For us, we strive to be chosen, to walk in alignment with a higher purpose, to embody light and truth. Yet there are moments, subtle at first, then increasingly insistent, when the path we are treading begins to feel off. It's not the joyous flow we envisioned, nor the comforting presence we craved. Instead, a sense of discord permeates our days, a disquiet that whispers, "Are you sure this is it? Are you truly on the right path?" This feeling isn't a sign of weakness or a lack of faith. It is, in fact, a crucial spiritual awakening warning. Sign that you might be on the wrong path. It's a divine signal, a loving nudge from the universe or a higher power, urging you to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. Consider the words of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in a hadith, "Verily, the heart rusts just as iron rusts, and its polish is the remembrance of Allah and the recitation of the Quran. Ai by haki, shwa by iman." This rust can manifest as a feeling of being disconnected, even when performing outward acts of worship. It's a sense that the spiritual practices that once brought solace now feel like empty rituals. You may find yourself constantly seeking external validation for your spiritual progress, rather than finding peace within. Perhaps you've been chasing a certain spiritual ideal, one painted by others or by societal expectations, rather than listening to the quiet, authentic stirrings of your own soul. You might be clinging to dogmas or traditions that no longer resonate, simply because they offer a sense of security or belonging. The spiritual path is deeply personal, a unique journey of unfolding. When we suppress our inner guidance in favor of external pressures, we invariably stray. This struggle is not new. Throughout history, individuals, even those considered profoundly spiritual, have grappled with doubt and a sense of being lost. The Quran speaks of Prophet Yunus Jonah, who, after abandoning his mission prematurely, found himself in the belly of a whale, realizing the error of his ways. His prayer from the depths of despair, "There is no deity except you. Exalted are you. Indeed, I have been of the wrongdoers," Quran 21:87, is a testament to the recognition of a path veered off course and the subsequent turning back to divine guidance. When you're on the wrong path, you might experience a pervasive feeling of spiritual fatigue. Prayer feels like a chore, meditation yields no peace, and the sacred texts seem to offer no comfort. It's as if your spiritual well has run dry. This is often accompanied by a sense of disconnect from your intuition. That inner voice, once clear, becomes muffled or silent. You might make decisions that, in retrospect, feel misaligned with your deeper values, leading to regret and further confusion. Another significant warning sign is an increase in negative emotional patterns. You might find yourself more irritable, anxious, or prone to despair. This isn't just everyday stress. It's a deeper, spiritual malaise that seeps into every aspect of your being. Your relationships might suffer as your inner turmoil spills over into your interactions with others. You might also notice a lack of synchronicity or flow in your life. Instead of opportunities opening up, you encounter resistance and obstacles at every turn. It's as if the universe is gently, but firmly, redirecting you. True spiritual alignment brings a sense of inner peace, clarity, and an expansion of love. When these elements are absent or worse, replaced by their opposites, it is a clear indicator to pause and reevaluate. This is not a judgment, but an invitation for self-compassion and a recommitment to your authentic spiritual truth. It's an opportunity to remember that the divine presence is not found in external accolades or adherence to rigid doctrines, but in the tender, often quiet, whisper of your own heart. Imagine Aisha, a woman who once radiated a vibrant, unwavering faith. Her days were filled with devotion, her words with kindness, and her heart with an infectious hope. She was a beacon of light in her community, always ready with a compassionate, or a comforting prayer. People sought her out for guidance, drawn to her serene presence. She truly believed she was on the path of a chosen one, dedicated to service and spiritual growth, but then the cracks began to appear. Slowly, insidiously, a deep-seated doubt crept into her soul. Her family, once her bedrock, faced a series of devastating financial losses. Her husband, once her steadfast partner in faith, became distant, consumed by the anxieties of their dwindling resources. Their home, once filled with laughter and prayer, grew silent, thick with unspoken fears. Aisha, who had always found solace in her faith, now found herself questioning everything. Where is God in this? She whispered into the empty rooms. Why are we being tested so severely? The financial ruin was relentless. They lost their home, forcing them into a cramped, unfamiliar apartment in a part of the city she didn't know. The shame was a bitter taste in her mouth. She, who had always given freely, now struggled to provide for her own children. The weight of it all became crushing. Sleep offered no escape, only restless tossing and turning, her mind a relentless carousel of what ifs and unease. The vibrant woman slowly faded, replaced by a shadow of her former self, her eyes heavy with unshed tears. Her once robust prayer life dwindled to desperate, fragmented pleas. She felt unheard, unseen. The stories of prophets who endured immense suffering, once a source of inspiration, now felt like cruel taunts. Where was her deliverance? Where was the divine intervention she had always believed in? This wasn't just sadness, it was a profound existential despair. She began to isolate herself, avoiding friends and community gatherings. The thought of offering comfort to others when her own soul felt utterly barren was unbearable. She questioned her very purpose, her very identity. Was I ever truly chosen, she wondered, or was it all just a delusion? This period of intense struggle is a common, though painful, part of the spiritual journey, especially when we are on a path that is not truly aligned with our highest good. It is in these moments of profound darkness that we are often forced to confront the illusions we've held, the expectations we've clung to, and the areas where we have strayed from our authentic selves. The feeling of being lost, broken, and questioning everything is not a sign of failure. It is, in a paradoxical way, the beginning of true awakening. As the prophet Job ibn Islam cried out in his suffering, "He has broken me down on every side. He has uprooted my hope like a tree." Job 19:10. Yet, it was through this utter devastation that Job's faith was ultimately refined and strengthened, leading to a deeper understanding of God's wisdom and a profound restoration. Aisha felt the raw emotions of fear as her future became an unyielding fog. Confusion, as the spiritual principles she had lived by seemed to offer no practical solutions. Doubt, a venomous whisper that corroded her faith from within. And internal conflict, a battle between the woman she thought she was and the shattered reflection staring back at her. She battled addiction, not to substances, but to constant worrying, to the ceaseless replaying of past mistakes, to the toxic narrative of self-blame. Her emotional despair was a deep well, threatening to swallow her whole dot in these lowest points. It can feel like abandonment. It can feel like the universe has turned its back, or that your prayers are hitting a ceiling. But often, it is precisely in these moments of utter collapse that the seeds of transformation are sown. It is when everything you thought you knew falls away that you are forced to confront the unvarnished truth of your being. This is where the ego dissolves, where false identities crumble, and where the authentic self has a chance to emerge from. The wreckage, your pain, your confusion, your despair are not meant to punish you, but to guide you, however brutally, back to the path that is truly meant for you. In the suffocating grip of despair, when Aisha felt utterly abandoned and broken, A peculiar shift began to occur. It wasn't a sudden, blinding light, but a faint, almost imperceptible flicker. Amidst the relentless darkness of their financial ruin and the silent grief that permeated their home, a memory surfaced, a verse from the Quran that she had memorized. As a child, so verily with the hardship there is relief. Verily with the hardship there is relief. Quran 94:5-6. It was a quiet whisper in the cacophony of her anxieties, a tiny pinprick of light in the vast, enveloping darkness. She struggled to believe it. Her circumstances remained unchanged. The bills piled up, the children still looked at her with worried eyes, and her husband remained withdrawn. Yet the verse persisted, like a stubborn ember refusing to die. It wasn't logic that spoke to her, but something deeper, more ancient, rooted in the very core of her being. This was the first fragile seed of faith beginning to re-emerge, not as a defiant roar, but as a tender, desperate plea. One evening, as she lay awake, the weight of their situation pressing down on her chest, she found herself not pleading for an immediate solution, but for strength. She began to recite the verse over and over, softly at first, then with a little more conviction. It was an act of surrender, not of resignation. It was her struggling attempt to believe, even when the evidence of her eyes screamed otherwise. She wasn't asking for the storm to cease, but for the fortitude to weather it. This small spark, this desperate clinging to a promise, was a divine intervention in its own right, a gentle stirring of her soul. Her faith, though microscopic, began to transform her perspective. She started to notice small things, the resilience of her children who, despite their hardships, still found moments of joy, the unexpected kindness of a neighbor who offered a bag of groceries, the warmth of a weak ray of sun through their apartment window. These were not grand miracles, but tiny affirmations that life, and perhaps even divine grace, still existed amidst the rubble. She found herself recalling the stories of Prophet Joseph, who endured betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment, yet held on to his faith, ultimately rising to a position of power and bringing salvation to his family. Quran 12, Yusuf's journey, was a testament to enduring faith through profound adversity. This emerging faith gave her the inner strength to press on. It wasn't a blind optimism, but a quiet resolve. She started seeking out online forums for financial aid, something she would have been too proud to do before. She began looking for small, temporary jobs, no matter how humble. The shame hadn't vanished entirely, but it no longer paralyzed her. The focus shifted from "why is this happening to me?" to "what can I do, with God's help, to move forward?" Her prayers, once filled with desperation, slowly began to include gratitude, however nascent. She would thank God for the strength to get through another day, for the small mercies she observed. This shift in her internal landscape, though subtle, was profound. It was the realization that faith isn't about the absence of problems, but the presence of hope and resilience in the face of them. It was a conscious choice to lean into something greater than her immediate circumstances. This was not about finding a new path, but about discovering the unshakable foundation within her that allowed her to continue on the right path, even when it felt like she was being pushed off course. It was about realizing that the wrong path warning signs weren't about her being wrong, but about the external conditions she was allowing to define her faith. Her faith, even when it felt as small as a mustard seed, was her anchor, providing a sense of purpose and hope despite her daunting circumstances. Then, as if a hidden mechanism clicked into place, the tide began to turn. Aisha, who had been diligently applying for every odd job she could find, received a call. It was a small, local community center offering a part-time position teaching children basic literacy. The pay was modest, but it was consistent, and more importantly, it was a start. It was a tangible sign that her efforts, fueled by that flickering flame of faith, were not in vain. This wasn't a grand, instantaneous rescue, but a gentle unfolding, a clear illustration of God's perfect timing, even when everything had seemed impossible. This wasn't just a job. It was a shift in her mindset, the work itself interacting with the children reignited a spark of joy she hadn't felt in years. She saw their eager faces, their thirst for knowledge, and a sense of purpose slowly began to blossom within her. She realized that her perseverance, her unwavering, albeit struggling, trust in God, had led her to this point of transformation. This small beginning brought a new rhythm to her days, a structure that helped quiet the anxieties that had plagued her. Around the same time, her husband, witnessing Aisha's renewed efforts and the subtle shift in her demeanor, began to emerge from his own shell of despair. He found a temporary construction job, demanding and physically draining, but it brought in much-needed income. Their conversations, once strained and filled with unspoken accusations, slowly became more open, more honest. They began to share their fears, their hopes, and to pray together again, their voices hesitant at first, then growing stronger in unison. It was a testament to the Hadith, no one is more patient than Allah in hearing the harmful things people say about him. He provides for them and gives them good health, while they insult him and ascribe partners to him. Bukhari. This divine patience, Aisha realized, was also extended to her in her darkest moments. The emotional realization that faith was the key all along was profound. It wasn't just about believing in God, but about actively trusting God's plan, even when it defied logic. Aisha began to see that the hardships were not punishments, but rather a refining fire that had stripped away her reliance on external comforts and forced her to confront the true source of her strength. She saw how her perseverance and trust in God had led them, not to an immediate reversal of fortune, but to a steady, incremental movement towards stability and peace. One evening, as they shared a simple meal, a rare moment of laughter filled their small apartment. Aisha looked at her husband and children, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, she felt a profound sense of gratitude, not for what they had lost, but for what they had gained, a deeper connection to each other, a resilience they never knew they possessed, and an unshakable faith that had been forged in the crucible of adversity. They weren't out of the woods entirely, but the path ahead, once shrouded in impenetrable fog, now had glimpses of light. The wrong path, warning signs had served their purpose, nudging her back to a trajectory of faith and true alignment, closer to her purpose and a renewed sense of hope. The blessings weren't always material. Sometimes they were. The subtle shifts in perspective, the rekindling of relationships, and the quiet return of inner peace. Aisha emerged from the crucible of her struggles. She was not the same woman who had entered the fire. The raw pain and confusion had been replaced by a quiet strength, the doubt by an unshakable wisdom. Her transformation wasn't just about finding financial stability or emotional healing. It was about discovering a deeper, more profound connection to her true purpose, a purpose that had been obscured by the weight of her previous expectations and the illusion of a wrong path she had briefly perceived. Her life had indeed transformed. Through her unwavering trust in God, the part-time teaching job blossomed into a full-time position, allowing her to not only provide for her family, but also to touch the lives of countless children. She found immense joy in nurturing their minds and spirits, seeing in their potential a reflection of her own renewed hope. Her husband's temporary job also stabilized, and together they slowly began to rebuild their lives, not to their previous material comforts, but to a richer, more meaningful existence. They learned to value resilience over riches, faith over fleeting security. This aligns with the teaching in the Holy Book, and whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out and will provide for him from where he does not expect. Quran 65:2-3. Aisha now carries an aura of serenity and purpose. She understands that the struggles were not a detour, but an integral part of her journey. They were the very means by which her faith was tested, refined, and deepened. She no longer sought to be the chosen one in a way that implied effortless divine favor. Instead, she understood that being chosen meant embracing the full spectrum of human experience, trusting in divine wisdom even when the path was arduous. Her spiritual connection was no longer based on external validation or the absence of hardship, but on an inner knowing, a profound peace that transcended circumstance. She found herself leading prayer circles again, her voice imbued with a newfound depth and authenticity that resonated deeply with those who listened. Her experiences had given her a unique understanding of human suffering and the transformative power of faith. She became a testament to the idea that true alignment with one's purpose often comes through the fire of adversity. Her initial perception of being on the wrong path was actually a crucial part of her spiritual awakening. The warning signs weren't a condemnation, but a loving course correction, guiding her to shed what no longer served her and embrace her true, divinely aligned self. She had learned that the path of their chosen one isn't always smooth or clear. It often involves navigating treacherous terrain. But it is precisely in these challenges that true strength and wisdom are forged. I encourage you too to embrace your own journey, no matter how challenging it may seem. Every struggle, every moment of doubt, every seemingly wrong turn holds a hidden lesson, a divine opportunity for growth. You too can experience this profound transformation by holding onto your faith. Trust that the divine hand is guiding you, even when the path is shrouded in mist. Your life, like Aisha's, is a unique tapestry, and every thread, even the darkest ones, contributes to its ultimate beauty and strength. You are not alone in your struggles. They are a universal human experience, and they are often the very catalyst for profound spiritual awakening and the discovery of your true, divinely intended purpose. And no matter the struggle, no matter how daunting the obstacles may appear, faith in God will ultimately lead you to breakthroughs, to profound peace, and to a clear sense of purpose. Just as Aisha discovered, the warning signs that you might be on the wrong path are not condemnations, but compassionate guideposts redirecting you towards your true spiritual north. They are divine whispers urging you to pause, reflect, and realign. Hold on to your faith. In the deepest valleys, when darkness seems absolute, remember that the sun will always rise again. Keep moving forward, even if it's one small, faltering step at a time. Trust that God is with you every step of the way, even when His presence feels most distant. As it is written, indeed, Allah is with those who fear Him and those who are doers of good. Quran 16-128. This companionship is not contingent on your perfection, but on your sincere striving. You are not meant to navigate this journey alone. The divine presence, ever watchful, ever loving, is constantly at work, even in the most difficult and seemingly hopeless times. The challenges you face, the doubts that gnaw at you, and the moments of profound confusion are all part of a larger, divinely orchestrated plan to bring you closer to your true self and your highest calling. This is your moment to reclaim your power, to step fully into the chosen path that is truly yours. Take a step of faith today. Perhaps it's through a heartfelt prayer poured out from the depths of your soul, unburdened by expectations. Perhaps it's trusting God more deeply in a specific area of your life where you've been clinging to control. Or perhaps it's taking practical steps toward change, however small they may seem. Reaching out for help, forgiving someone who has wronged you, or simply spending quiet time in reflection. Reflect on the message shared today. Apply it to your own life, to your own unique struggles and aspirations. Believe that, no matter the obstacles, your faith will carry you through. Remember, you have the inherent power to overcome, to transform, and to align with the magnificent purpose for which you were created. God is always at work, molding you, refining you, and guiding you towards your truest, most fulfilling destiny. Embrace this journey with an open heart and an unwavering spirit. If this message resonated with you, if it stirred something within your soul, I invite you to like this video, leave a comment below sharing your insights or experiences, and subscribe to the Book of Wisdom channel to continue this journey of spiritual awakening together. Your engagement helps us share these timeless truths with more heart-seeking light and guidance.